to participate with the Tamil Nadu BJP state executive. I can see on the screen that with lot of fanfare you have organized this state executive meeting, and I'm also sure that you are going to have deliberations which is going to decide the future course of action about Tamil Nadu BJP and about Tamil Nadu politics also. When I talk about Tamil Nadu, we can say that it is a land of temples, very rich culture, architectural beauty, full of revolutionaries and who have contributed in the nation building, freedom fighters, legendary administrators and worldwide known entrepreneurs. We all know the contribution of Tamil Nadu in the making and shaping of India, and to this land, the land of temples, I bow down with respect to the people of Tamil Nadu for the rich culture they have. Tamil Nadu has got the oldest language with Sangam literature, we all know. It's a very rich language, and we can say that the language has given birth to many languages in long course of time. It is also known for industry of hosiery. It is also known for home industry. It is also known for crackers industry, matchstick industry. It is also known for automobile industry. We all know that the people of Tamil Nadu are very industrious. If I talk about the contribution of Bharatiya Janata Party, we are proud to say that we had a national president, late Jana Krishna Murthy, who happened to be from Tamil Nadu. His contribution we all know, and it is not to forgotten that he contributed for the rise of the party and see that the party grows in South, especially in South. When I talk about Tamil Nadu BJP, I am happy to share with you that Muruganji, the state president, along with his team, is trying his level best to give dynamism to the party and see that in a very short span of time, Bharatiya Janata Party grows and becomes meaningful in the Tamil Nadu politics. If I talk about the DMK politics, we all know that DMK has been always inciting the feelings against the national spirit. They have been on a lookout to see to it that in the national mainstream, the assimilation, the formation is always disrupted. And they have been anti-development. An anti-development course has been taken by the DMK by coming out with issues which are not in the interest of the nation. We all know recently the Karupar Kuttam, the issue which really was highlighted and it enlightened the people of Tamil Nadu. They were agitated, and their agitation was in the most peaceful manner to represent the nationalist feeling. I congratulate the Tamil Nadu BJP and the people of Tamil Nadu with coming of the national inspiration. We can say that in Tamil Nadu, the DMK and the administration, it has become a sheltering ground for people who are not working in the interest of the nation. We have to see to it, we have to be alert, and we have to be active to see to it that we are able to give befitting reply to such people who have been working in the direction which is not in the interest of the nation. There are people who are working against the interest of the nation, and they are being provided shelter in Tamil Nadu. I certainly would like to specify here that the administration and the political parties should be on an alert to see to it that divisive forces do not get strength in the land of Tamil Nadu. That is, I would like to request. When I talk about the Bharatiya Janata Party, I am happy to share with you that in coming times, the way the Bharatiya Janata Party is working in Tamil Nadu, we will have a good share in the municipal elections, in the local body elections, and in the coming time in Vidhan Sabha elections also. That is what I would like to suggest. We have to increase our vote share, and we have to see to it that how do we go forward as far as the vote share is concerned. I would like to congratulate the Tamil Nadu BJP unit for doing a wonderful job as far as the COVID management is concerned. None of the other parties in this time of lockdown, it was practically the lockdown of the political parties. But in Tamil Nadu, the Bharatiya Janata Party remained active, and they did this social work, and they also saw to it that the people who are needy should be given the best treatment, and the party, Bharatiya Janata Party, did their best. We all know that under the dynamic leadership of Narendra Modi ji, who led the country from the front as far as the COVID management is concerned, made the country ready to fight COVID management or COVID-19 management. I'm also happy to share with you that he took a very bold decision and a timely decision so that he could prepare the country, 1.3 billion people, to fight the COVID-19 and make the country and the health system and the structures robust to fight out COVID-19. This I would like to say. We all remember that there was no COVID dedicated hospital when the lockdown was imposed. We all know that at that time we had no dedicated beds for COVID management. We all know that the testing facility was minimum. We all know that the ventilator facility was also not up to the mark. But yes, we can say that during the lockdown period, we developed the COVID hospitals, and now we can say that more than 1,500 dedicated COVID hospitals are there. More than 12.5 lakh COVID dedicated beds are there. More than 44,000 ICU beds are there. At that point of time, the testing facility was 1,500 a day. And today the testing facility has crossed 10 lakh per day. That is what I would like to suggest. We did not have ventilators, but Prime Minister Modi encouraged the local entrepreneurs, and you will be happy to note that 50,000 ventilators have been manufactured in India, and they are in service. That is, I'd like to say. At that point of time, there was no personal protection equipment, PPE kit, and there was no facility also for personal protection equipment. But now, with the encouragement to the local entrepreneurs, we have got approximately 5 lakh personal protection equipment produced, manufactured day-to-day basis. That is what I would like to suggest. The same way, in Tamil Nadu also, you did a wonderful job in Feed the Needy program. You saw to it that the Mahila Morcha, the Mahila Mandal, and the self-help groups, they come out and they produce and they make the masks, handmade masks, and you did in numbers, in lakhs in numbers as far as face masks is concerned. You also did good job in the Feed the Needy program. You also participated in PM CARES Fund, and you also contributed in the program of joining people in the Arogya Setu. Once again, I congratulate the Bharatiya Janata Party Tamil Nadu unit for doing a good job as far as the social work is concerned. This has given an impression in Tamil Nadu and countrywide that Bharatiya Janata Party workers do not only are interested in power politics, but we have got a social angle also, and we have a social thinking also, and we work for social cause also, and this was depicted. This came out very clear during the time of COVID That is what I would like to suggest and I would like to say. As far as the Prime Minister Modi is concerned, we all know that he not only addressed the health issues of COVID-19, but he also addressed the economic issues. We were able to see to it that in Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana and Garib Kalyan package to the tune of 1,70,000 crores was spent for the people who were in the marginal section of the society, who were deprived and who had to be brought to the mainstream. We are happy to share with you that more than 80 crore people were given 5 kilo of rice or 5 kilo of wheat and 1 kilo of pulses, not for 1 month, not for 2 months. It started in the month of March and it will continue till the month of November. 80 crore people will be getting food so that nobody should remain hungry and everybody should be fed to the maximum. That is what I would like to suggest. Not only that, through Jan Dhan Yojana, Prime Minister Modi ensured that 500 rupees each month for 3 months, March, April and May, it was debited to the needy. 20 crore women were getting 500 for each month, that is 1,500 rupees they were given through the direct benefit transfer to the people, to the women, 20 crore women of our country. Not only that, the specially abled people and the widows and the old age people, they were getting 1,000 per month for the last 3 months. That was also arranged. Not only that, it was 8 crore free gas cylinders were distributed for 3 months, 3 consecutive months, so that no family should remain with the facility of the cooking gas system. I would like to share with you that the international agencies like UN, international agencies like WHO, commended the work of Prime Minister Modi, and they said that Prime Minister Modi has not only addressed the health issue, he has also addressed the economic issues. That is what I would like to suggest, and that is what I would like to share with you. When I talk about COVID management, I also talk about the Atmanirbhar Bharat package, a package of 20 lakh crores, in which 1 lakh crore was to be given to the MSME sector, and 1 lakh crore, 2 lakh crore, 3 lakh crores, 1 lakh crore, no, sorry, 3 lakh crore was to be given to the MSME sector, and 1 lakh crore was to be given to the agricultural infrastructure sector. And also 5,000 crores was to be given for 50 lakh street vendors. And also 2.5 crore farmers were to be given the advance, the credit, Kisan credit card and Kisan credit facility to the farmers. Here I would like to suggest that Mr. Murugan, along with his team, should see to it that Atmanirbhar package, which the Prime Minister's vision is to convert the crisis into an opportunity. Here I would like to suggest that we should see to it that the Atmanirbhar package should be implemented in the land of Tamil Nadu in letter and spirit. This is what we have to do. And for that, we will have to see to it that all the state executive members should know in detail what is Atmanirbhar package and how it is to be implemented. Nearly 1 lakh crore has been disbursed and sanctioned as far as MSME sector is concerned. I would request Muruganji that you hold the video conferences with the MSME sector, engage them and see to it that they get the facility of this MSME collateral loans so that they are able to revive their small industries, and see to it that Tamil Nadu, which is known for home industry, which is known for small scale industry, which is known for medium scale industry, they should flourish. And we have also seen to it that we have changed the definition of MSME sector. So people should take the advantage of it, and we should see that the economic activity in Tamil Nadu comes out with full pace and use the opportunity of this Atmanirbhar package. The same way for farmers, we are going to have 1 lakh crore to be dispersed only for the infrastructure of farmers, only for the value addition of the producers of farmers. So it becomes our prime responsibility. I would request Muruganji and his team to participate in the formation of FPOs, which is known as Farmers Producers Organization. In huge number, all the booth committees should be activated to see to it that in these FPOs, we are involving the farmers, and the progressive farmers should come up and should be the part and parcel of the FPOs, that is the Food Producers Organization. When we will do this, the farmers will be able to understand what do they need from this 1 lakh crore rupees to be spent on the infrastructure at the grassroots level, at the local level. For that, I would request that BJP should take the lead. Prime Minister Modi's vision of changing the crisis into an opportunity in the agriculture field by value addition should be taken as a responsibility of the Bharatiya Janata Party Tamil Nadu unit to see that we are able to bring the farmers into the mainstream. The same way, 50 lakh street vendors are there. 10,000 rupees are to be given to them. We would request that we should see that in Tamil Nadu, in small and big cities, none of the street vendors should be left from taking this advantage of this scheme. And for that also, the party has to be activated, and we have to see to it that all the party workers at the booth level contact the street vendors and activate the banks so that they get the collateral loans and the financial support as far as this Atmanirbhar package is concerned. The same way, I would also request that we should talk about the national education policy. You see, the national education policy, the last education policy came in 1986. And before that, the education policy came in 1968. We all remember, I am seeing L. Ganeshanji sitting there on the dais. At that point of time, we used to fight when the Rajiv Gandhi was coming out with the new education policy. We had said that this is only a change in the figures. It is just a change. It is not the change as far as the content is concerned, as far as the education policy's spirit is concerned, it is not changed. But now we can say with full command that under the independent India, it is for the first time that under the dynamic leadership of Narendra Modi, we have got an independent education policy, which is Bharat education policy, which is Indian in spirit and letter. That is what we have to understand. The major part, and I would request that we should do a deep study of this national education policy. Every state executive member and the state office bearers should know the main points, what is there in this education policy. We have to form a task force and see to it that it is implemented in letter and spirit. And I would like to share with you that this is an education policy where accessibility is there. Maybe rich, maybe poor. Everybody is going to get a qualitative education. That is first thing of this national education policy. Number two, it is affordability. The affordability is going to remain so that any poor person also is able to send his children to school so that he can get the school education. That is also there. The acceptability level is also there. The medium of education till 8th standard is going to be regional language. You should understand what does this mean. That means that it is not India. It is the Bharat which is going to get educated. It is the people in the rural background who did not get the education and the medium of instruction in the regional language. Now they will get the opportunity, and so the base of education is going to be stronger. This is what we have to understand. It is going to be an education where there will be flexibility. Curricular activities and co-curricular activities and education all will be interchangeable. If a person wants to go for literature along with music, it will be permitted. Previously it was not there. If a person wants to read history along with a professional course, he will be allowed for it. So there is a lot of amount of flexibility in the new education system. Now, and in the examination system is also going to change. Now we have got the education examination system where it is subjective. We write down, we by heart these things, and we just vomit out there in the examination hall, and that is called the examination system. But now the education system will have the concept of the basic conceptual education will be given. The concepts will be made clear, and the analytical approach of the student will be also estimated and also brought forward. This is going to be the new education policy. I would request the state executive that our state executive members, the office bearers, should know the main issues of the education policy, and they should also sensitize the people of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu has been talking about language since long, but it is now for the first time that the education policy recognizes the regional language for the medium of instruction. That is what we have to understand.